Hi guys, this is Roxy's Playland. I am coming to you with a video diabetic tag. This was a diabetic tag that was presented to me from Superbetic. It was a two-parter that he did, and he did it with Tanta Hannah, and I love the video. It was great. But I'm going to do it probably in a one part because it's only 10 questions, and it's just me answering and saying questions to myself, which is kind of funny, but I always talk to myself because that's the best way to figure things out and get good results from it. So here we go. Question number 1. How did you know when the honeymoon phase was over? By Stephen Hubbard. The honeymoon phase for me was either when they're first diagnosed or when you go on the pump. When I was first diagnosed, it lasted, my honeymoon phase, I think, lasted about 6 months because we were having a really hard time getting me down off of my actual highs. And I wasn't having half as many lows, but I have them a lot now. And I was on a lot of other meds, so that may have had a lot to do with it. I'm no longer on those meds because the highs were still producing themselves and the lows were, and we just couldn't figure out how to get this down. And the meds were causing a lot of interference. And they're doing a lot more research now that more meds sometimes cause more interference than just being a diabetic. So Danielle decided to be just a diabetic and get off a lot of the meds. I wouldn't suggest that until you talk to your healthcare provider, but you have to do what's best for you. And the total outcome and later is usually that they're looking at it more and more that sometimes a lot of meds is not always good for a diabetic. So I'm doing a lot better since I'm not on half of the meds that I was on before and just my diabetic meds. So the honeymoon phase for me on the pump is right now because I just switched from Omnipod to the Mini-Med Medtronic 530G with Enlite. And with that particular pump, I am having nothing but highs and as well every once in a while a lot of really bad lows. And we found out I wasn't a type 2, which is what I've been trying to tell somebody before, but I had a really bad endo situation before this new endo. And now I love my new endo, and I'm not having, she's fixing it. She's doing what she should have been doing the whole entire time. So right now my honeymoon phase is going on right now. How long it will last is hopefully we will get my sugars under control, and I won't be so sick all the time. I'm actually out on disability because of that. Question number 2. How many times a day do you test? Sandy Brooks. I test 10 times a day. Of course I test before and after breakfast, before and after lunch, before and after dinner, snacks, any highs, any lows that I get. So I left it. It was supposed to be 6 times, and the doctor didn't want me to test because I have the new 530G with Enlite. She wanted me to test 6 times, but then she told me because of all the highs, I have to just keep testing. So it's like 10 or more. So I could be up to, oh my goodness. And lately, unfortunately, it's been like maybe 20 a day, which is really sad, but I don't have a choice. It's either that or die. I don't know what to tell you guys. I know, great. That or die. So you know how that goes. Question 3. Can you get a CGM through your healthcare? Sandy Brooks. Yes, I can get one through my healthcare because I'm in the United States and my insurance approved it, obviously, or I wouldn't have the Enlite with CGM. I wouldn't have it. So 530G Enlite CGM, I wouldn't have it. So it's working good for me right now. But I have some times where I've had to put it in and it's not gone in. Like I did a site change today, and 3 times it wouldn't go in. So 4 times was a charm. I don't understand what was going on with it, but it might have just been me in a hurry because I hate needles. I don't care how much of a diabetic I am. I hate needles. I despise them. So I don't know anybody who likes needles. It's one of those things. So question number 4. How old were you when you were diagnosed? Robert Giles. I was 35 when I was diagnosed. 35 or 36, something like that. I was diagnosed in November 2011. So yeah, as far as I know of, I was 35 years old. At least that's what I'm telling the world. I'm 35 years old. It was when I was 35 years old. Okay, so question number 5, excuse me. How did you discover that you were diabetic? Also Robert Giles. I discovered that I was diabetic simply because of the fact that I was drinking a lot of water and juices, just anything I could get in. I was never feeling like I had enough in me. It drove me nuts. I was always sleeping. I was working a lot of 12-hour shifts because I was just trying to take care of bills and things. I have a teen, so you gotta pay those bills. Your parents are always telling you, hey, we gotta pay bills. We gotta do what we have to do. As for you to have those nice things, I have to work. So I was doing what I had to do for my teen. Sorry if I call her a child in front of her, she'll freak. Teen. So that's what happened. That's how I found out. I thought I was sick with the flu and found out that I was not sick in any shape or form with the flu. And I'll get to that one in question number 7 because that's a good one. Wait to hear this story. It's awesome. Okay, so question number 6. How did you come to terms with it? Robert Giles. Well, let me tell you. There is a book out. One of these little books was how I came to terms with it. I was looking at it, and it had either Shaka Khan or Alec Baldwin, which I did not realize. I knew Alec Baldwin was, but I did not realize that Shaka Khan, if I'm not mistaken, that was her, was diabetic. And I was in the office about ready to talk to the doctor, and they said, you know what, we can't, no matter how much you stick and how much you do shots, pins, whatever, we're never going to get your rates, your lows and highs in order at all. Because you would be doing it every 5 minutes. So you are a candidate for a insulin pump. And we're telling you that you need to get it on like pretty much immediately. And so I got mine. I found out a lot sooner than most people got theirs. I hadn't even really been diagnosed that long before me and the doctor talked about it. I pushed off getting, I'm sorry, something to my eye. Beside eyelash stuff, which is funny. Sorry about that. Random rant. I put off as long as I could just getting it because that just meant that I was a diabetic. Mentally, my brain just wasn't wrapping itself around it, and I really didn't want to be bothered with this whole diabetic situation. So I came to terms with it because of one of these little books and the insulin pump. And you know what? To this day, even now that I have a wire pump, which I had fears of because of what friends and stuff had told me about and how many problems it had, I have no issues with it anymore. I love it. I think it's the greatest thing in the world now. And I would suggest anybody I know get a pump. I met a brittle diabetic. How are you? Now, don't get me wrong, but I don't understand how this person was a brittle diabetic. And I'm a brittle diabetic. And I don't understand how they're brittle diabetic. And I didn't see them test this recently at all when they ate food and stuff. And I asked them how many times they test. I said, are you a good diabetic or a bad one? So to me, personally speaking, this person has a long way to go. And my friend just told me they got on them recently about their diabetes and they freaked them out because of the fact that the person wasn't doing what they should be doing. So I don't care how long and how many years you've had diabetes. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can be a brittle diabetic or whatever. You cause yourself to have problems because you don't take care of yourself. That's all I'm going to say on that whole entire thing. I'm sorry if anybody takes offense to it. That's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just trying to get this situation out there. We want a cure, then we need to take care of ourselves because this is something we have to live with every day. And that means testing, letting your friends know you have it, not being ashamed, even if you have to take pins or everything. Don't run off to the bathroom to do it. I know it takes some time for people to get used to it. It took time for me, but I never ran off to the bathroom. I'm like, hey, I'm a diabetic. I'm like, hey, look, I'm a diabetic. I tell people it's almost like I wear it as a badge. I don't mind. I used to, but I don't mind. And I know it's something that's going to save my life because if I fall out or something happens to me, somebody needs to know. Okay, sorry about the rant. Going to the question. So that's how I came to terms with it, was because of one of these nifty little diabetes books. If you have a chance to get one at your endo or get one, a free subscription, I would totally recommend it because it's so worth it. Okay, next question was question number 7. What was your first reaction when they told you that you are diabetic? And that's for Amira Al-Ketbi. Well, my first reaction on this whole situation was that was in November. The doctor, I thought I had the flu. There was a horrible, like in Ohio, a horrible bad flu situation going on, which was a mixture of stuff. It was bad viruses. So that's what I thought it was. Oh yeah, I got that. Get off of work at 3 o'clock in the morning because I was working third shift on a call center and I was actually able to work from home, which was great. My tower's a mess, so I'd show it to you. That's where my workstation is, where I'm at right now. And I don't no longer work for this company. I'm actually on disability, but my mom went with me because she was really worried about me because I hadn't gotten up and done nothing normal in like weeks, and I was sick when even though I slept, I overslept. I always slept right up until about time for me to go to work again, and then I'd go ahead and run. And I eventually moved back home and worked. But before, I was at an actual call center working, and I had to drive like an hour or so away. And that particular time, I happened to be at home working. And my mom was like, Danielle, she's like, well, I don't think you need to go by yourself. So we went into the hospital, which was over an hour away. Went to the hospital. I got there. I'm thinking he's going to slap me in there, give me some meds, send me on my merry way, hour tops. Yeah, an hour tops my foot. Well, that didn't happen. We went into the door, and the doctor was like, He did some tests. Literally an hour later, he came back. He said, Mrs. Wharton. I'm like, yeah. He's like, what did you do to yourself? And I'm looking at him like, what did I do to myself? Are you serious? What do you mean? I'm sick. Just give me some medicine. Let me go home. He's like, yeah, you sick, all right. But you're a little more than just sick. He said, you have a 1400 A1C. At that point in time, if you don't know what an A1C is, I encourage you to totally research it, because if I had known what A1C was, I probably never had to listen to the doctor I was with. I actually had to switch doctors because this other doctor really did not take care of me. That was the reason why I ended up being a diabetic. I had been one for years, I found out, possibly it's hereditary. It's in my family. So I was probably a diabetic when I was a kid, and all these things were going on and we never knew it because my doctors weren't checking for the right things. So now I'm doing a lot better. I've got the right care. I have 4 or 5 or 6 doctors down, unfortunately. Now I'm being treated the right way. 2 endos down and about 6 or 7 doctors down, which is really sad, but sometimes it takes some time to find these things. Well, that doctor freaked me out because he came in there and he was like, well, you got to have these meds and these done and that done and that done. I'm like, okay, so 2 days tops, I can go home, right? He says, maybe. Well, let's just say 2 weeks later, I had to physically still be in the hospital. I think it took me 3 to 4 weeks to get out of the hospital. I was in there for almost a month because I was that sick. My A1C, they got it down from a 1400 down to a 500. It was my blood sugar, excuse me, not my A1C. My blood sugar was 1400. They got that down from 1400 to like 500 before they would even let me out. And that was still pushing it because they were really worried about sending me home. So I ended up automatically the very next day going to diabetic classes. They gave me, I didn't know nothing about, I knew about meters. I had one. And when I told the other doctor I thought I was diabetic and he swore me out I wasn't. Well, I had one. Then my kid, kids, they play with stuff. My kid had ruined the whole kit. So I had to go get another one anyway. And I went to the hospital I had has a really good support group for diabetes for free and to help people out and get them started. So they gave me meters and lancets and syringes, and they gave me all kinds of stuff for free. So, and then they gave me help through another company. It took a while for the company to kick in. I'm sorry about this, people. I've got something in my eye. I do apologize. Something to do. I think it's my mascara. I think I put it on wrong. Well, not wrong, but clumped it up. And I hate clumpy mascara. So that seemed to fix whatever it was. Okay, so I do apologize. But that was what my first reaction was. I totally flipped the freak out. I'm just going to keep it real. Everybody else was like, oh, I didn't freak out. You ain't lying. They freaked out something terrible. They didn't know what they was doing. So you know how that goes. Oh, well. I freaked out. Okay, sorry about that. Not trying to make this any longer than it has to be. Question 8. 3 more questions and we're done. Question 8. Can you do a diagnosis story by Rosie Barron? Well, answer that question is I guess I can do a diagnosis story, but you know what? I've never been asked to do a diagnosis story. So if you guys want me to do a diagnosis story, down below, please link. It's gonna be a long day for me. La 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 loo. Me and my daughter been watching a whole lot of Dinosaur Train, so I'm having some issues right now. Don't pay attention to me. It's a Sunday. I'm having problems. And I want to get this uploaded today, so yeah, don't pay attention to me. To answer that question, yes, Don, I will be doing a diabetes story as long as the viewers out there that watch you, me, Diabetic Danica, and some others will like, comment, and share down below as if you want me to, and you must include questions so I can put them into my diabetes. We're diabetes, y'all. Diabetes story. I'm so sorry. Don't pay attention to me. Also, I need to check my sugar because all of a sudden I'm acting really loopy today. Next, question number 9. Were you in the hospital when you were diagnosed? Adam Smith. Yes, as I said, November 11, 2011, I was in the hospital when I was diagnosed. I'd have never known because I had been turned away from so many different hospitals. Supposedly had done the test. I found that they never did them. This was the only hospital that had ever done it. So thank you so very much. Where I live at in Ohio. I love you guys to death. If you hadn't have been there for me, I probably would be dead right now because I was that sick. And question number 10. What do you prefer? The pen, the pump? And that's Tanta Hannah. Tanta, I prefer the pump. Oh my God. I have pens. I have so many pens because I was using, I'm one of those people and I found out, I think this girl said in Australia, they have no choice but to use pins to load their diabetes pumps, which I think is freaking awesome. I used to do that with my Omnipod because it was easy. Put this in there, and you're done. Well, this one I have not yet tried it, but I'm going to start doing it. And if I can, I'll go back to pins because pins are so much easier to carry around than vials. Vials are just an eyesore and an annoying pain in my swazzle. And my swazzle is my bum. And pour myself, it's a pain in my swazzle, Tanta. So, give me the pump any day. If I have to carry a pin, I carry them as backup, but I hate using them because I still can't, I have to, trying to put them in the arms or the legs and stuff. My body just, not used to that. And my brain can't wrap myself around that. So the pump is the best way for me. Unless I just am so desperate, it's not funny, and I have a backup of my Omnipod, and some extra pods, so if something happens, I will go back to my Omnipod temporarily and put these new figures in there, because I am never going to do the pin. That is just not happening. So, that's the end of these questions. I do apologize, it's a little bit long, but I got you going. It's all good. I will talk to you guys later. You have a very good day, and always come back to Roxy's Playland. Like, share, and comment below. And please leave your comments. And if you want me to do a tag with you like I'm doing with Superbetic, I have another one coming up soon with Mama Duke 67, but she's on vacay. Have a good vacation, girl. I will talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye.